And we're back with chapter 13 of the Bible according to Mark. Okay, so guys, we are one chapter away from the big stuff, the stuff we call the Triduum. Okay, so pay close attention because Jesus is wrapping it up, right? Everybody that's in power hates him, and he's made a lot of enemies, but he's doing so by caring for the poor, caring for the vulnerable, and speaking out for the truth, specifically on behalf of God. So here we go. Chapter 13, the destruction of the temple foretold. As Jesus was making his way out of the temple area, one of his disciples said to him, "Look, teacher, what stones and what buildings." Jesus said to him, "Do you see these great buildings? There will not be one stone left upon another that will not be thrown down." Okay, this seems insane for Jesus to say. It'd be like me walking through Boston, pointing at Fenway Park and being like, "You see that building? That thing is going to be leveled to the ground in 20 years, or that building will be demolished soon." What's amazing about this is that 30 years after Jesus died, the Romans came in and they literally leveled that area of Jerusalem to the ground. So Jesus accurately predicted that temple and those big buildings, those incredible stones, would be destroyed. As Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives opposite the temple area, Peter, James, John, and Andrew asked him privately, "Tell us, when will this happen? And what sign will there be when all these things that are about to come to an end?" Jesus began to say to them, "See that no one deceives you. Many will come in my name, saying, 'I am he,' and they will deceive many. When you hear of wars and reports of wars, don't be alarmed. Such things may happen, but it will not be the end. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against nation. There will be earthquakes from place to place, and there will be famines. These are the beginning of the labor pains." Okay? So what Jesus is trying to tell you is, listen, people are going to come back and they're going to say they're Jesus. People are going to pretend to be me. You're going to see wars happening. You're going to see nations going to nations in battle. You're either going to see earthquakes or other natural disasters. This doesn't mean that the world is ending. However, it is a sign, it is a reminder that one day the world will end. You see, it's labor pains, right? It doesn't mean the baby's coming. It doesn't mean the baby's going to be there in an hour, but it means that you should be mindful that eventually it's going to end. Eventually things are going to wrap up. So don't freak out when you hear false prophets. Don't just, everyone that says they're Jesus returned, don't just listen to them. However, you need to be mindful, right? Wars, famine, kingdoms going up against each other. These are all signs that this world was not meant to be permanent. That this world is not all good. That there needs to be an end to this world. The Great Tribulation. When you see the desolating abomination standing where he should not, then those in Judea must flee to the mountains. And a person on a housetop must not go down and enter to get anything out of his house. And a person in a field must not return to get his cloak. Woe to pregnant women and nursing mothers in those days. Pray that this does not happen in winter. For those times will have such tribulation, such as has not been seen since the beginning of God's creation until now, nor ever will be. If the Lord had not shortened those days, no one would be saved. But for the sake of the elect whom he chose, he did shorten those days. If anyone says to you, 'Look, here is the Messiah, look, here he is,' do not believe it. False messiahs and false prophets will arise and will perform signs and wonders in order to mislead, if that were possible, the elect. Be watchful. I have told it all to you beforehand." So Jesus is saying here, guys, the Romans are going to come and they are going to destroy you. You are going to push them. You are going to push them too far, and they are going to level this place to the ground. Don't even go get your coat. Run. Run away. Because the destruction that they're going to cause is going to be unbelievable. God, he's like, God bless the helpless. God bless the pregnant women. Hope this doesn't happen in wintertime, because we will not be able to return. And this is going to happen to the Jews, right? The Jews are going to see their homeland destroyed. They're going to see their temple, the very center fulcrum of their faith, destroyed. Jesus is letting them know that. And also so that they would know, even 30, 40 years, wow, Jesus really was the Messiah. Okay? He's very careful to say, though, during this times, many people are going to claim to be me. Many people are going to claim to be the Messiah. Don't listen to them. I'm the Messiah. He's saying, without saying it totally outright, He's saying, I'm the Messiah. The coming of the Son of Man. But in those days after the tribulation, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, and the stars will be falling from the sky, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. And then they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then he will send out the angels to gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the sky. So Jesus says, eventually, when the time comes, when the world has come to its natural end, I will return, the Son of Man. I will return, and I will pick those that I've chosen. I will take my elect, those who have chosen me, those who have chosen goodness, and I will collect them from all four corners of the earth, and I will take them with me. The lesson of the fig tree. Learn a lesson from the fig tree. When its branch becomes tender and sprouts leaves, you know summer is near. In the same way, when you see these things happening, you will know that he is near at the gates. Amen, I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not. Okay, so what does this mean, the lesson of the fig tree? What Jesus is trying to say is, listen, if you're a smart person, you know when summer's coming. Because you look at the trees, you look at the grass, you look at the blossoms, you know when it's coming. He says the same thing. Christianity, his generation, Jesus' people, they're not going to die off the earth before the end of the earth. So what he's saying is, Christianity is going to have its ups and downs. It's going to be persecuted. Remember, it's illegal to be Christian for the first 313 years, okay? You get murdered for being Christian. But what Jesus is saying is, Christianity will not be wiped off the face of the earth before the end of time. So Christianity will survive. There will be Christians. My words, my teachings will go on until the end of time. Need for watchfulness. But of the day or hour no one knows, not the angels in heaven, nor the Son, only the Father. Be watchful, be alert. You do not know when the time will come. It is like a man traveling abroad. He leaves his home and places his servants in charge, each with his work, and he orders the gatekeeper to be on watch. Watch, therefore. You do not know when the Lord of the house is coming, whether it's in the evening, or at midnight, or at cockcrow, or in the morning. May he not come suddenly and find you sleeping. What I say to you all is watch. So Jesus is telling us some really complicated stuff here. The first thing is that Jesus himself doesn't know the hour that the end of the world is. Remember, we have to be very careful of that. Jesus doesn't know when the end of the world is in his humanity or in his divinity. In his humanity, okay? Obviously, Jesus in his divinity knows when the end of the world is, but he's saying that in my humanity, in my humanness, even I don't know when the hour is coming, okay? But he gives us this point. If your boss goes out and he says, okay, I'll be back, you don't know if he's coming back in the morning, he's coming back at night, he's coming back in the middle of the day. You better be working. You better be taking care of your job. You better be doing the right thing, because if your boss returns and you've been sleeping the whole time and the garden is totally destroyed and the house is totally destroyed and no one's been working, he's going to be upset. Similarly, God is telling you he's coming back. He's asking you to take care of the earth and take care of one another. Don't be caught unaware when God returns, because nobody knows when God's returning. Nobody knows when the end of the world is. So every single day you need to prepare yourself. Every single day you need to be doing your best, being kind, loving others, praising God, so that when God returns, you're not caught unaware. Okay, that's the end of video 13. See you tomorrow.